Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, so yesterday we chanted the second mantra. We'll chant again and then we'll continue from there. Yase turi jananam aksharam brahma yat param avayam titirshatam param nachiketam shakemahi. Okay, so the mantra is divided into two parts. The first part speaks about those people who Jnananam, speaking about people who are engaged in rituals. We have this question all the time. Do we need to do rituals? People ask. So, rituals is a part of the... It is like, you're asking a question. All of you know. Do you need to go and do alphabets? Well, you have already done alphabets. There's no need for you to go back there. This alphabet is part of your whole learning process. Some stage you have to learn. Because prior to that you don't learn alphabet. Prior to that you just learn to speak from your parents. You're speaking all language from your parents as a child and you don't know reading and writing. So speaking is first, then later on they send you to school. Now you start learning alphabets. So the alphabet is somewhere along the path. In the same way, all the various things in Sanatana Dharma, they are along the path. Somewhere you have to do this, somewhere you have to do that and all like that. But if you are not comfortable doing rituals and all of that sort of thing, it means... And you can do something else, no problem. If you're doing nothing, then there's a problem. Some sadhana you have to be doing. So this first part speaks about those people who Jnananam, they like to do rituals. Aksharam Brahma Yat Param Setu. That means that ritual, and in this case there's a ritual which is given by Yama, Lord Yama to Nachiketa. So that ritual becomes a setu, a bridge to where? Here Aksharam Brahma means Swarga, some higher world, where they go to enjoy the result of all of their rituals and all good karmas which did, punya karma. So, there are many people who don't want mukti and all, they do whatever spiritual practices to get good results. That is it. So that here is, in those days, this is what was given. The rituals were all designed to take people to Swarga. But Swarga also, please understand this. Recently somewhere I had gone and translating Swarga as heaven. It is not the same thing. Swarga is not heaven. Swarga is Swarga. There are many words in Sanskrit which you cannot translate into English. You just call it a Swarga only. In the Vedic tradition, the teaching is there are so many various lokas, worlds, different worlds. So Swarga is one of them. And the king there, his name is Indra. And he has some other ministers and different people with him there. So, in that world, some of the laws are different from this world. Like they don't get old, they don't die, they only die when the pralay comes, and that time. They're like us, there's no birth and death. So there are so many things that they enjoy there. So, people who do punya karma, they go there. But when that pralay comes, that punya karma will get over also. Then what? Tetam bhuktva sargalokam vishalam, shene punya. They come back here only. That is like when you go to Europe with $10,000 and it's finished, what do you do now? You have to come back here, isn't it? So like that, they come. So this first part of the mantra says the ritual becomes a bridge to go there. Setu. Setu is a bridge. And the second part, abhayam titi shatam param nachiketam shake mahi. Meaning to say, this is, the second part speaks about people who want mukti, to cross over this whole ocean of samsara, ocean of duality, ocean of birth and death, coming and going. Those who are fed up of coming and going. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi jatare janani shayanam. So, again and again coming and going, taking birth, taking death, having death and all that, right? So he says, we can, shake mahi means we can master this ritual. And the ritual still becomes an aid, a help. How? The Bhagavad Gita concept of karma yoga. It means the first set of people, they do rituals and do spiritual sadhana and do seva and do whatever. You see, that anything can be substituted there, right? Whatever we are doing, we do it for some personal benefit. What I want to go to Swarga and enjoy there because a lot of nice things are there. The Taittiriya Upanishad describes in Swarga when you lick an ice cream, let us say you get 1 unit of joy. When you lick an ice cream there, you will get like 1,000 units of joy. Like this is difference. So he wants to go there and enjoy that ice cream or whatever. You see? So he does this punya karma for getting personal benefits. But then the karma yoga principle is, if we do this punya karma, we do this ritual, or we do seva, or do whatever you substitute there. But you do it and you surrender it to Bhagwan. Now that same karma will now lead to the path of mukti. It is something along the path of mukti. The other one is not on the path of mukti, because after finishing there, they come back. So the mantra deals with these two types of people. Those who want to go to Swarga and enjoy there, or those who want mukti. And the ritual becomes a bridge in both, depending on how I use the ritual. If I use the ritual for personal benefit, then I go there and come back. If I use it for chitta shuddhi, means I do it and I offer it to Bhagavan, I get chitta shuddhi, purity of mind. And so it becomes a help on the path of mukti. So the second part of the mantra, Puja Gurudev explained nicely there, is about mukti. Now comes the real, this chapter actually has this aim. What is that? To relate to us a very important analogy of a chariot, something which is there in Bhagavad Gita, something which is there in other parts of the scriptures also, different places. A very famous analogy of the chariot. And a little bit different from the chariot in Lanka Kand, that Dharma Ratha, Vibhishan Gita, and all that. Dharma Ratha is given there. No? So this is a little bit different. Now see this. This will be number 3. 3. Atmanam Rathinam Vidhi Shariram Ratham Evatu buddhim tu sarathim vidhi mana pragrahame cha. Atmanam rathinam vidhi. Rathinam means the one who owns the ratha. One who owns the ratha. Rathin in Sanskrit is Rathin. So Rathinam, he is the one who, the owner, the master. Like when Arjuna was fighting on that battlefield, Arjuna is the master. Bhagavan is just the charioteer. So Arjuna is called Rathinam, like that, whoever owns. Usually the king, and then he has a charioteer. Then Shariram Rasamevatu. And what is the chariot? Sharira, this body is the chariot. So the Atma is the owner of the chariot. Then this body is the chariot. Then Buddhim tu sarathim vidhi. And who is the charioteer? Buddhi, intellect, is the charioteer. Then Mana pragrahamevacha. And the mind are the reins. Mind the reins. Let us finish. It finishes in the next verse. Then we'll come back and see all of that. Indriyani hayanyahu. Indriyani hayanahu. Vishayansteshu gocharan. Atmendriyamano yuktam. Bhoktetyahur manishinaha. Indriyani hayan ahuhu. The senses, 5 senses, they are the horses. 5 senses are the horses. And Vishayansteshu gocharan. And the road on which the horses go. Horses walk on road. The road on which they go, they are Vishaya. All sense objects. This thing and this thing. And you say, oh, the book has gotten a facelift. A sense object has gotten a facelift. Quickly our senses see this color and that color. And some people are so fast at analyzing that they don't match. They don't match and all. And nowadays, I don't know what these youngsters and all, they have all sorts of new styles coming out. Like it is stylish to put on 2 different color socks. A red socks and a white socks. And there. So quickly how our senses. So the sense organs like that. Anyway, so gocharan, vishayan, sense objects, vishayan. And then atmendriya mano yuktam bhokta iti ahuhu manishinaha. Manishinaha means the wise ones, the rishis, the sages, saints and all. Ahuhu, they say that the bhokta, who is bhokta? Bhokta is atma indriya mano yuktam. The atma coupled with, means hitched on to the mana and indriya and all of them in this body, that atma is the bhokta. Atma is bhokta, means enjoyer, experiencer. Atma. So, several things are given there now. And exactly what is Atma? You see, there's so many words are there, and many times these words are confusing because they're used in different contexts, different places. So there's Atma, there's Paramatma, there is Brahman, there's Jivatma. Oh, Bapre. Everywhere you go, all different things you hear. Jivatma, Paramatma, Atma, and people in different sampradayas and all, they use these words all in different meanings and all. So it's very, very confusing. The best thing is among all of the words, you just choose some certain words to use so that you do not become confused. You're using so many various words all the time. Now I'll tell you the exact meaning of Atma. You see, suppose this whole ashram here is filled with water. From the floor all the way up to there is all water only. Now, this water over here and this water over here is all the same water. You cannot distinguish this water from this water. Water is water, isn't it? You'll not be able to distinguish anything. Okay, now suppose you take this glass, you see? The glass is here. And you keep it here in the middle of this water. Now there will be water inside the glass and there will be water outside the glass. But now the water inside the glass will be distinguishable from all the water outside the glass, because the glass forms a distinguishing, demarcating feature, isn't it? So you can now speak about water inside the glass and water outside. But if you take away the glass, same all, isn't it? So the glass has just distinguished, demarcated a certain amount of water when you put the glass, when you introduce the glass. Where Paramatma is like the water, it's all pervasive. This body, mind and intellect, which we have, which is made up of the 5 elements. You know that. Body, mind, element made up of the 5 elements. It's like glass in Paramatma. So it's body, mind and intellect, they're just demarcating a certain amount of Paramatma. Like this glass is just demarcating a certain amount of water here. The BMI is demarcating a certain amount of Paramatma. That certain amount of Paramatma, which is demarcated by body, mind, intellect, is called Atma. So whichever water is inside the glass here, that will be called Atma water. And the rest of the water will be called Paramatma. You get this thing? Now see, what is the difference between the water in the glass and water outside the glass? Same. No difference. It's just that it is demarcated. That is all. By a demarcating here, in this case the glass, here BMI. BMI has somehow demarcated, but really the water in the glass, water outside the glass, they're all one and same. And if you remove glass, then the demarcating instrument is gone. In Sanskrit, that is called as upadhi. That is the technical word. The glass becomes the upadhi, conditioned that water, that little bit of water. Here, body, mind, intellect, conditioned Paramatma. The conditioned Paramatma demarcated by this body, mind, intellect is called as Atma. But you please remember, Atma and Paramatma is no difference. And also, that is why yesterday only somebody was explaining, Gurudev, how come you're traveling here, traveling there, going everywhere? And Gurudev said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm Achalam. I'm not going anywhere. Mumbai is coming and is gone. Delhi coming and is gone. Delhi comes and goes. Mumbai comes and goes. America comes and goes. Achalam, I'll give you another example. You have to think about all of these things, because when it says that Paramatma is Achala, we all the time feel we are moving everywhere, isn't it? Look here. If you have a clay pot here, inside that pot some space will be there. You move the pot from here and you keep it here. The space is still there? That space is not there. That space which was here, that space is still here. The pot has moved, but this space is still here. In other words, the pot was encircling this space. You move the pot is now encircling this space. This space is still where but the space is Achala. Actually, that is exactly how we are all moving in. This body, mind, intellect is moving in Paramatma like that only. Paramatma is Achala, it doesn't go anyway. any place. You get that? You have to reflect on this again and again. Then only we will realize what is the meaning of achala. Because if I am Paramatma, as all the Upanishads tell, and Paramatma doesn't move, I cannot be moving. BMI is moving in Paramatma. I am achala only. So now, this Atma is, when this BMI moves from here, this BMI is encircling Paramatma here. That encircled Paramatma is called as Atma. But when BMI is moving, it is encircling Paramatma there, in some other place. Paramatma did not go anywhere. Whichever Paramatma it is encircling, wherever it is, that Paramatma that time is called as Atma. But it remains the same Paramatma only. Because the same space, this space here is no different from this space here. It's all one uniform, undifferentiated space. So this is Atmanam tu Ratinam Vidhi. Now the Atma, because now it is associated with a body, mind, intellect. Atma, which is subtle, is now associated with gross. It is now associated with Pancha Mahabhuta. That Atma and that Pancha Mahabhuta together, now they become an experiencer, a bhokta. It will come after that. See, when this Paramatma or Atma, because they are one and same, reflecting in these 5 elements, reflecting in 5 elements, and which part of the 5 elements? Reflecting in the Buddha. Yeah, subtle body, buddhi. Subtle body, and the reflecting there, that is called as Chidaphasa. But this is a different line of thinking. You just try to understand this thing now. Because these are all technical words. Each one has to be studied very slowly. I'm trying to avoid all these technical words and all. Trying to make you understand from a very ordinary standpoint. Because you have to grasp one word by one word. So we are trying to deal with this word as Atma. So the Atma is now associated, which is Paramatma only, associated with body, mind and intellect. That association, coming together of the two, which is the subtle and the gross, the two together, coming together, forms a bhokta. Because bhokta word is coming in next verse. Who is the bhokta? Because we say Paramatma is akarta abhokta. Akarta abhokta, he doesn't do or experience anything. So here, when this Paramatma now conditioned by this body, mind, intellect, and the two together now they form a bhokta karta. So now meaning to say that I told you yesterday, the body by itself is jada. BMI by itself is jada, it cannot experience anything. When this Paramatma now associated with this body, reflects in this body, and live in this body, now the two, one gets conditioned by the other. This jada vastu becomes enlivened by chetan vastu, and the chetan vastu becomes now as though it is now conditioned, restricted, is now become limited by the size and shape and texture of this BMI. As though, how example Bhagavan Shankaracharya will give, like for example, moon in the water. Now, moon is reflecting in the water. Moon is not shaking. But when it is there in the water and the water is shaking, the moon appears to be shaking. It is as though the moon is shaking. Really, the moon is not shaking. So it is as though Paramatma, conditioned by this BMI, is caught up. Paramatma is going through experiences, but really it is not going through anything. That is the idea. As though, that's why I told Iva, in the Sanskrit language, Iva, it will come. Iva is a big word. As though. Throughout the Upanishads and all, Iva. as though it's going on. So anyway, so now this Atma is the owner. Atma, which is now associated with his BMI. He is the owner. And he is the one who is the experiencer and all that. Shariram Rathamiva. And his body is the Ratha, the chariot. So the Atma is sitting in the body like the owner sits on the chariot, like that. Buddhim tu sarathim vritti. And the Buddhi is the charioteer who guides this Buddhi everywhere. This is very interesting, What it should say, what the Upanishad should say, Buddhi should be the charioteer. Because the Buddhi is supposed to guide. Buddhi is supposed to guide everything we do. But Buddhi doesn't. But anyway, Buddhi is really the charioteer and is supposed to tell, okay, go this side, eat this, drink this, don't eat this, don't eat that. But Buddhi, this poor fellow, I am always so sorry for Buddhi, He doesn't get a chance because all the senses and the mind and everything there. And the horses run wild. Have you heard? The senses run wild because Buddhi has lost control of the reins, the mind. The reins of the mind. Pragraham. Pragraham is at the reins. Manaha pragraham eva. The reins is the mind. So now really, the reins, they're rein free. The horses run wild. The Buddhi is supposed to be the one that is doing everything, all the direction. Buddhi is the director. When they're making the film, the director says, okay. And the director tells that actor, okay, now jump. That actor says, but sir, if I jump from here, I will die. He said, that's okay, this is the last scene. No problem. The Buddhi tells what to do. The director of that movie tells everything. So the Buddhi is supposed to tell like that, but something else happened now. Indriyani hayan ahuhu. The senses are the horses. If you see this, everywhere you'll see this picture with Arjuna and Bhagavan Shri Krishna. And, by the way, happy Krishna Janamashtami. Today is Krishna Janamashtami followers. The Bhagavan Shri Krishna was there in this picture with Arjuna everywhere, and you see those horses and all. And there are only 4 horses. If you look at the picture well, you will see only 4 horses are there. So everywhere people go on asking, why only 4 horses? You have 5 senses, no? See, in Indriyas, there are 5. And everywhere the picture you see 4 only. Well, it is very interesting how the rishis think about everything, Really, there are only 4 horses there because one sense organ has 2 indriyas on it. The tongue can taste and it can also touch. The tongue cannot see, it cannot hear, but it can taste and touch. So you don't need 5 horses. 4 is, actually tongue, this fellow, indriya, Bapre. He is the most powerful indriya on the earth. The tongue has 3 indriyas on it. It has taste, touch, and it also has speech, karma indriya. One organ has 3 senses on it. That makes him the most powerful. Big cruise ship, that thing is like a moving hotel. One little rudder at the back turns that whole ship. Compared to the size of the ship, that thing is insignificant. But it turns that whole ship. Mahatma Lok described our tongue like that. One tongue can make or break this human being. Small part. Anyway, so this Indriyani, Hayani, Ahutis are the horses, and they pull the whole chariot. I mean, these senses pull this chariot, this body everywhere, isn't it? The moment I see something there, I go I'm having, what is it? Dahi rice is there. Dal, chawal, chapati. But then on the end of the table, I see achar. Aha. So the senses, you only see, way down there. And the children, they had to line up like this. And on this end of the hall, the box of apples. And at this end of the hall, the box of bananas. So they have to line up like this. Past there, each one has to take one apple and then walk down till there. And then take one banana and then go outside. Like that. And there's a sign there. Take one. God is watching. It's a sign, take one. God is watching. That was the instruction. So they lined up like that. They all went there. And they took one. And they're all going down there. And one fellow took 2 bananas. So the other boy said, hey, you're supposed to take one. God is watching. He said, yes, he's watching the apples. I thought took 2 and he went out. But how our senses just drag like that nicely, and the sign is over there, The senses really, we see things and we move quickly in what you call guided by the senses, fast. Sometimes in a crowd, everybody's talking and then one person is looking over there. How the senses gone. Anyway, these are the horses. They pull the chariot everywhere. Vishayan, Steshu, Gocharan. They pull the senses on the road of sense objects, flashy things. That is why they make, And the society outside is designed to make sure that your senses stay on their products and all of that, They study, I tell you, they have studied Kathopanishad. Everything outside, they design it very nicely. Since you go out there, you will see one big red sign with an old man and a mustache there. Red and white sign. He's called a Colonel Sanders. So if you get that franchise, you have to put that sign. They'll make you put that big sign. So your eyes are gone. Means they catch you with that big red sign and brightly lit and all that. Then they'll make a jingle and put it on the television, Put it on all media. What is that? Finger licking good. Finger licking good. Before that child is born, he already learned that mantra. Finger licking good. Like that. So air's gone. Then they will show in that commercial. See, in Western culture, everybody eat with knife and fork. Have you ever seen anybody eating those products with knife and fork? In the commercial, they groom you to hold that with your hand. You have to feel the grease. They groom everybody like that. So the touch is there. Then, inside that thing, they put ingredients which nobody knows. Isn't it? There's some secret ingredient will be there. Nobody knows. It says then, the tagline on the bottom says 11 herbs and spices, or whatever number. And what they put inside of there, that catches the tongue. And sometimes it's addictive also, because nobody can know. So 4 senses gone already. Then, what happened, and that store is on the side corner of the street, and you're driving there, and the kitchen, there is an exhaust fan. They face that thing towards the road where you're passing, The exhaust fan there. And when you pass there, you get, and right there they put the drive-through. So you're trying to pull like this, but the car is going like that, right through the drive-through also. So all 5 senses gone like that. This is Indriyani. Instead of the buddhi directing everything, the mind and the senses, and the whole society gear up like that to make sure Atma Indriya Mano Yuktam Bhokta, and that Atma. What's very interesting, we see how very interesting the Rishi puts. Well, Yamaraj is telling Atma Indriya Mano Yuktam Bhokta iti ahuhu manishinaha. The Atma forming an alliance with the Indriya and the mind, Mana. Buddhi fellow is left out. The main one who is supposed to direct everything, he is left out from the mantra. Because the mind and the senses take over, and the Atma, now forming an alliance with them, become the Bhokta. This is very, very interesting thing, very instructive thing. Huh? And just like in our Bhagavad Gita in the 6th chapter, you all know, Uddared Atmanatmanam Natmanam Avasadayet. We are supposed to lift ourselves by ourself. And it means to say, I am supposed to be the master and controller of my own self and lift myself by myself. Means I have to bring the buddhi into play. Because the only time I can direct myself properly is when I make the buddhi as the proper director. Now see, this will be number 5. Yastva vijnanavan bhavati ayuktena manasa sada tasyendriyan yavashyani dushtasha iva sarathe. You have all that? Dushtasha iva sarathe. Drishtasha. Yeah, this is an old edition. I suspected something wrong with it. Drishtashva iva sarathe. Like that you are. Dushtash. But no cha is inside of there. Mine has a cha. I don't know where the cha came from. That is why chanda bhanga. All right. So now, what it means to say, yahatu avijnanavan bhavati ayuktena manasa sada. So the jiva, right, the individual who is lacking in knowledge. No, this is an interesting thing. Lacking in knowledge, avijnanavan, then he is ayukta. Avijnanavan, no knowledge. Ayukta means he really has not mastered his mind and senses. He has not brought them under his control. They are running helter-skelter, haywire everywhere. That is called ayukta. Mind and senses just go wild. So that person, and they are connected. The mind and senses go wild everywhere, is connected to avijnanavan. Because he does not have proper knowledge. The idea is to really see, there are 2 ways to control this mind and senses. You say, I sit here and I'll keep it, I will not move. Right? So it means you keep it there by force. And the other way is to teach the mind and senses, by the thing which you are running after, it is not there. It is here. Whatever you are running after, Sukha Shanti, the Sukha Shanti is not there. It is here. No, you don't have to force it to stay there. It stays by understanding. That is why, in your pedagogy and all, which you are using in your Balvihar, that time, there it is said that we don't want to force the children to do something. We have to explain to them why we are doing it. And then when the children understand why we are doing it, they will just naturally do it. It is always good to explain why. At some point, of course, on some occasion, sometimes and all, you may have to just, okay, do it. But it is better that we explain why, especially when they grow older. You will not be able to force them. It's better to explain to them. So here also, the absence of knowledge and the running wild of the senses and mind and everything, they are connected. They run wild because really they are not educated properly. This jiva is not educated. So the presence of knowledge will keep the mind and senses put home. You see? So you have to avijnanavan bhavati ayuktena manasa sada. For that person, tasya indriyani avashyani means all the senses and all. Avashyani means not under control. Senses now run wild. Dushta Shwa means all the horses become Dushta. Dushta means they'll take him down the wrong. Dushta means wicked. They'll take him down the wrong road, this person. This is how he ends up in trouble. But in great contrast to this verse, to this mantra is the next one. See. Number 6. This is where we are supposed to reach. Yastu vijnanavan bhavati. Yuktena manasa sada. Tasyendriyani vashyani. Sadashva iva sarathehe. Sarathehe you have? Visarga? Okay. Yastu, but see now, contrast to that, yahatu vijnanavan bhavati. But when we educate the mind and senses properly, then the mind and senses become yukta, means now they stay, they're not running wild everywhere all the time. Then tasya indriyani vashyani sadashva sarathe. Then they become our friend as though, so that we can lift ourselves by ourselves. That's why I have brought that verse. They become our friend. The horses become agreeable. I tell the horses where to go, where not to go, when to stop, when to go, like that. But what is the key thing in all of this? Vijnanavan bhavati. See, that word, so the previous word, avijnanavan bhavati. Yeah, vijnana. What is this vijnanavan? What is this vijnana? Vijnana is the same wisdom which is required for our enlightenment. So then we have to study now very slowly. Why these senses go out? Why they run helter-skelter everywhere? Well, that is a very simple thing. The Upanishad is telling there is the absence of knowledge. Okay, which knowledge is absent? The knowledge that happiness or joy is not in the sense objects, because the sense organs are going to the sense objects. And the vijnana which is missing, or the wisdom which is missing, is happiness is not in sense objects. My nature is happiness. That vijnana is missing. And then you say, but Swamiji, when I got the object, I felt so happy. How you are telling that the object doesn't have happiness? When I got it, I felt so happy. You don't know because you're a Swami. When I got that, see, somebody I remember telling me, describing when he saw his little child first time from the hospital, and he saw Munna, Swamiji, you're a Swami, you don't know that bliss. You don't know that joy. So the happiness is in the object. He's convinced, 100% convinced. Well, with a little bit of logic, the rishis can very easily show that that is not true. Little bit of logic only. Happiness is not in objects. It can never be. See, fire is hot. Heat inheres in fire. So that anybody who touches the fire, he will get burnt, correct? Because heat is inherent in fire. If happiness were inherent in objects, in the same way, anybody who came in contact with that object, he should also get the happiness, correct? But you know that is not the case. Huh? One person will get happiness from eating Kerala. And you give the Kerala to the other person, he'll think this is a poison. So if Kerala had happiness inherent, this person should get the happiness as well as this person. That doesn't happen. The second thing is, if happiness was inherent in objects, the person who had more objects should be more happy. And the person who has less objects should be less happy. But that also is not true. Because actually, I remember once we going to Puja Gurudev. Oh, good, you have come. Okay, Puja Gurudev, now I got darshan, I'm going. Oh, good, you're going. Good, you came. Good, you also you go. So we feel that by going, oh, my joy will go. But we see many people were going. Good. They said some people bring happiness wherever they go, and some people bring happiness whenever they go. So sometimes coming brings joy, sometimes going brings, because the human being is responding to all various things in this world, and really he is the one who is superimposing that happiness, and he thinks that the happiness is in. Yes, there's a big thing which is happening there. See, the other part of that logic is, last part of that logic rishis give, what is it? Fire will burn you today, it will burn you tomorrow, it will burn you forever. So if the object had happiness in it, it should make you feel happy today, it should make you feel happy tomorrow, and it should make you feel happy forever. And you know that that also doesn't happen. Same thing which makes you feel happy today will make you feel miserable tomorrow. So like this, they give that logic. I'm supposed to sit down and reflect on this thing, but they're giving knowledge. My dear, happiness is not in objects. Happiness is my very own nature. My swarupa is happiness. So that vijnana has not set in. That vijnana, that is, right now we know it is intellectual knowledge. Intellectual knowledge has to set in and become part of my very being, like that. Then only the mind and the senses will not run there, outside, all over the place. But until that knowledge has set in, I hope you know, that taken root, until it has become nishtha, I will keep running. Now, what is the way to make that nishtha? The Upanishad tells very nicely, I sit down and I go inside. Slowly, you know. Practice daily. Bhagavan tells in 6th chapter how to practice also. How detailed he is. Savam gaya shiro grivam dharayan nachavam stiraha. Some prekshana sikagram swamityadi. How he tells all, step, sit down first. Make a proper seat. Chaila jana kushottaram. And sit on that seat. Even first day, if you get the seat properly also is fine. And then sit up straight. And don't think that we should achieve all of this in one day. Like that. Otherwise people go, Ramji, I did 108 names, nothing happened. 108 Gayatri Mantra, nothing happened. This is a process. Getting the seat, sitting straight. On the first day, if you can... See, some people can't sit for more than 5 minutes. First day, if you can make 2 minutes, next day you increase 3 minutes. But make sure that you are still. Forget about all meditation, mantra, this, that. Just try to get the asana. Sthiram asanam atmana. Just try to get this posture and the seat also. Sit for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes minimum. This type of practice, slowly, and then the internalization of that knowledge, that my nature is Sat, Chit, Ananda. So many types of logic will be given there also. I can see thoughts coming in my mind. I can see them going. If I can see them coming and going, that means I am not coming and going. Because if you are standing on the side of the road there and you can see cars coming, cars going, that means you are not going. If you were in one of those cars, how you will count? So here also, I can see thoughts coming and going. So if I can see the thoughts coming and going, that means I am not coming or going. My nature is achalam, sthiratva, stillness. And then, with that logic also now, I stay in that stillness. There, I will discover that stillness is the same as Paramatma, Brahman. That stillness is the same as Satchitananda. That stillness is the same as being, whatever name you want to call. That actually is the source of happiness. When that joy is felt, this sense organ and this mind will never again run away. That is called as Vijnana. So Vijnanavan bhavati, for that one who is Vijnanavan possessing Vijnana. Possessing Vijnana means possessing wisdom. Which wisdom? Natural wisdom. My nature is Sat, Chit, Ananda. For that person, the senses and the mind don't run wild. Now all this which I just told, that is being done with buddhi. All the things which I just told, that is done by buddhi only. That is not done by any other. Buddhi is doing that. Buddhi has to tell, sit. Because the body will say, please move. I'm paining. Isn't it? Body will tell. Buddhi will say, stay right there, don't move. He said, please move. If you don't move, I will die. Then Buddhi will tell, no, nobody has ever died from a little leg pain. In the past, nobody has ever died from a little leg pain. Stay put. Then leg goes now. But why do you want to run the risk of being the first? फिर आखिर में क्या होगा? Who wins? Leg wins. Buddhi loses because he moves. So the Buddhi is the one who has to take up this whole task and tell, don't, I will stay today. Yesterday I stayed 5 minutes, today I will stay 8 minutes. Put alarm also, no problem. Like that. Because at some stage, even in parenting, at some stage, you have to tell the child, just do it. You may explain at some later stage, but at some stage, you know the stage, he is not capable of understanding this at this time. You just have to do it like that. And then he'll thank you later on for it. If you did not make me do that at this age, I would not have been, in this condition today. Good, you made me do it. So the buddhi has to take charge at some point and really make all of this happen. Otherwise, this wisdom will not come and these sense organs will keep going. No, there is. When we tell like this, some people say, there is a question that comes. What is it? Amiji, you mean to say, only when I reach that highest stage, then I'll be able to control my senses and all? So until that, my senses are running wild. Then how I will ever reach that stage? Because it is always presented as though the control of the senses is a prerequisite for reaching that stage. So what we are saying, that is actually there is a great amount of sense control and mind control that we have to do prior to be able to sit also. But that when we sit also, there is still the mind going here, the mind going there, and thinking about this thing, and the senses want to. The moment we hear sound, then we forget we were, we turn. So this is a kind of sadhana, or the kind of a process where, yes, you have to develop a certain degree of sense control and mind control to be able to sit. But we are saying the ultimate control of mind and senses really comes with Vijnana. The Vijnana which is given here. You will not be able, just by the ordinary control which we know, like for example, all the statistics tell that it is better to eat healthy foods. So you sit there, and that time only the commercial comes on, bottle open. So you hear the sound. Now the senses and the mind, and they are telling, go there. So we have to have some degree of control. I will not go. I will not go there. I'll sit here, like that. So that kind of control has to be there in the beginning, to some degree, and then only the ultimate mastery of this mind and senses will happen when proper jnana comes. Otherwise, people will say, no, when proper jnana comes, then only I will be able to stop all of this. No, some bit of it you have to do before, by ordinary means, ordinary things. That is why there are rules in families, rules in society. You can only, just now, in Trinidad, we had a children's camp, Gurukul camp. So one night I told all the children, I'm going to make pizza. Come here. They all came, and we have a brick oven there. I made pizza for them. Then one boy came, and he took one slice. He came back after a few minutes, took another slice. And then he came back third time. And he looked at the pizza. He said, how many slices are we allowed? How many slices are we allowed? It means to say, whichever house or home he came from, he had very good training that, this is pizza. You can't go on eating pizza all day. You are only allowed one or two. Like that, it means the rules in the home and the training in society and all of that thing made him know that you have to control your senses. You cannot go on eating 5-10 slices of pizza. Though one boy told me he ate 13 slices. And another one said he had 12. But of course the pizza was very nice also. You have to come and try that there. So I'm giving the example to tell you that rules in families, rules in society, that will help us to a great degree to control. We have to follow the rules to control the mind and the senses. But it is not the ultimate control. The ultimate control actually comes with proper wisdom. That the thing which you are running for, in this object and that object, that thing is not there. That thing is here. When that ultimate control comes, this is Vijnana. When this Vijnana comes, ultimate control of these senses and everything will be there. But some work has to be done before. All right. So we will continue this. This is most wonderful Upanishadic teaching for us. We'll see tomorrow. I mean this, but we'll see here evening. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurupyo Namah.